The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch UK Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. You're listening to Paranormal Concept right here on Parasearch UK Radio with your host, Paul Rook.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Paranormal Concept Show. I'm your host, Paul Rook, and on tonight's show, well, we've got a humdoozy of a show for you tonight. It is all about Shepton Mallet Prison, the HMP prison over in Shepton Mallet in Somerset. Tonight, joining me is Kerry Greenaway. Hello, Kerry.
Hello. How are you?
Yeah, I'm a lot better now. Thank you for my few weeks off.
Oh, honestly, I'm going to go and lie down in a dark room now. Is what I'm going to do for about 5 or 6 weeks. Or was it that long? No, it wasn't quite that long. About a month.
It wasn't that long. No, you can't do that. I'll put in my holiday dates soon as well.
No, you're not. I tell you, you've just had all your holiday.
No, they're coming, absolutely.
Oh dear.
Snow, Kerry.
I can't believe you had a snow day. I
did. I had a snow day, and a snow Tuesday, and a snow Wednesday, and a Thursday. Yeah, and so on. It just constantly here, just above my flat.
Oh my God, no you didn't. Now, behave.
I did. It was constant snow. Believe it was.
Mate, I live 2 minutes down the road from you. I know exactly what kind of snow level you had, and there's no excuses. I'm not impressed with you at all.
Okay, well, let's crack on with the subject in hand. Right, what are we talking about tonight?
We're talking about Shepton Manor. No, we're not. Shepton Mallet Prison. HMP Prison Mallet. Shepton Mallet. That's what we're talking about. Oh my God. Honestly, my life is so manic at the moment. It needs to slow it down a little bit. I can't keep up. I'm going to start crying. No, it's Shepton Mallet is what we're doing.
Okay. What have you found out about Shepton Mallet?
Well, what an absolutely fascinating place.
It is, actually. I did look at a couple of websites, and I didn't know, but it was also used as a military prison.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Did you not?
I didn't know that, so that sort of opened my eyes a little bit more, and I'm even more looking forward to going.
It's actually the country's oldest jail.
Yes, built in 1610 as well.
It was. It certainly was. Now, I mean, wow. What a location.
Yeah, I know, and it's going to be such an amazing place to visit. And it even says in this website that it housed French prisoners of war during the Napoleonic War period.
Yes, we must be looking at the same website.
Oh, I'm going to switch to another one now. That's it.
As we like banding facts about this place between us on the same thing. No, I tell you something though. Reading this, it's absolutely fascinating. I'm a little blown away that you were going to this. Now, the reason we're talking about Shepton Mallet Prison tonight is we're launching a competition, which is over on the Parasearch Radio group page. All the terms and conditions are up there. All you have to do to enter is actually comment on the post and obviously be a liker of Parasearch Radio, a group page or like page. And if you love us, you'll share that out to everybody so we can get as many people entering the competition as possible. We have 2 tickets that are available thanks to Trident Paranormal, who my lovely Paul Rook is the owner and founder of.
Yes, indeed.
Which you are, aren't you?
I am. I'm so looking forward to it, and it's going to be an absolutely amazing opportunity for 2 people to win. Mm-hmm. And I might even swing it for them to do a lone vigil.
Ooh, a lone vigil. Now, I work for Trident as well. I'm a host at Trident events occasionally because, I'm lovely like that.
I like that occasionally.
Occasionally. Well, when I can get to them, when my schedule allows. I can't make Shepton Mallet, unfortunately, but I'm really jealous. I'm actually really, really jealous because I want to go to this place.
I'm going. I actually booked my hotel before the show.
Now, the night itself, the night in question is the 6th of April. Now, you do have to be responsible to get there and get home. Or, if you want to go, it's in Somerset. So you have to be aware of that. So if you're local in Somerset, then great. If not, then you have to be aware that it's your responsibility to get to the event and get home from the event or book a hotel. We're not taking responsibility for any of that. But the investigation is for 2 tickets. One person will win 2 tickets. So you and a mate can go down and have a great investigation at Shepton Mallet. Now, let's talk a little bit more about Shepton Mallet, Paul, before we go any further. I'm interviewing you now.
You are, aren't you? Yeah, that's very good. Carry on.
Did you see how I switched that?
Yeah, that was good. Carry on.
You like that? So Paul, tell me a little bit more about Shepton Mallet Prison.
Well, it's a prison. It's in Shepton Mallet. Go on.
The one thing about Shepton Mallet is there's only a short investigation period time on this, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Like most of the prisons, the company that owns them is going to turn them into, obviously, flats or shops or other buildings that would obviously make more money. So they're only given on a short-term lease to another company called Jail Tours. I just think it's called Jail Tours, and they arrange with paranormal teams to go in. So it is only like on a 6-month basis, so any team can only book within 6 months, and we was just lucky enough to get Shepton Mallet for April.
I know, which is awesome, isn't it? Because it's not overly investigated, is it? That's the point of these places. These aren't overly investigated places.
No, they're not. And for a small team like ours to get Shrewsbury Prison is an immense, immense opportunity for us, because normally it's the big companies that tend to book up the dates because they've got the funding behind them.
Yeah.
That they can actually book like in blocks, so they could probably book the whole 6 months period. But occasionally, that 1 month is open to a small team, and we are lucky to be one of them. Yeah, and this isn't the first prison we've investigated either.
No, you did. You just mentioned Shrewsbury, so you did Shrewsbury. I can never say that.
We done Shrewsbury Prison. I think it was 2 years ago now.
Yeah, it's a little while ago.
Yeah, time flies.
It does, doesn't it?
That prison was absolutely amazing. Just being in that atmosphere where so many prisoners. I mean, I think in Shrewsbury there was 8 people lost their lives by execution throughout the years. But the prison would go into in April, Shepton Mallet. Mm-hmm. That's hundreds of people being executed by not only just hanging but firing squad.
Yes, there's both, isn't there?
Yeah, which is like really fascinating. And I mean, the emotions are going to be running high, so I expect to experience a lot of residual energy there.
I would have thought so.
Like from the stone tape theory, if for want of a better idea. But I'm sure there's lots of other spirits hiding and lurking in the shadows.
Well, it's a well-known... That's the thing with prisons, is you actually know a lot of the history because it's documented, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And, you know, you can go onto most websites, even Wikipedia now, and they although their information's quite accurate, there's always that room for doubt in some of it.
Yeah, but, I mean, when we was talking to Rob Lee... Rob Lee. He was saying that there's actually a group that go around on the Wikipedia sites and check the information that's on there to verify, basically.
Yeah, I mean, Wikipedia's getting better, but that, you know, Wikipedia's still open to abuse sometimes, I think. So, you know, don't take what they say as gospel.
Oh, God, no.
Go and find out for yourself. That's the best thing.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, most definitely. I agree with you. There's nothing like experience, is there?
No, absolutely. And, you know, this is one reason I sort of set up my team right at the beginning, you know, because I watched all these ghost programs, Most Haunted and Ghost Adventures, Taps and all that sort of thing, and I wanted to experience that for myself. You know, whether it was fake or not, I wanted that experience, so I went out looking for it. And 9 times out of 10 I found it, but it's still puzzling.
Oh, we've all had experiences which are puzzling, and I have to say, no more so than when you do something like a prison or an old castle or something like that. It definitely has more of a, what should we say, experience factor.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because we done Shrewsbury, and I'm expecting the same sort of level of activity as Shrewsbury, because again it was a prison. We had an ex-prison officer with a guide in Shrewsbury, and I was upstairs in one of the dormitories, and I heard someone walk up the stairs and then stamp their feet, and it sounded like he was no more than about 4 or 5 foot away from me. And as I turned around, there was no one there. And that sort of was like, okay, I'm going to go and join the other group now.
I love it, you run away.
And one of the other groups actually come around a corner and said, "Did you stamp your feet out here?" And I'm like, "No, but I have no idea what did, so I'm going to come and join you for a little while."
Right, let's talk a little bit about Shepton Mallet itself. Let's delve a little into the history of Shepton Mallet. Now, as we've just said, is the country's oldest jail. 1610 it was built. It housed French prisoners of war during the Napoleonic Wars and also during World War II. And cell 10 was used to protect some of the nation's treasures, including the Doomsday Book and a copy of the Magna Carta, and also logs of Nelson's flagship, HMS Victory.
Yep, indeed. I read that too.
We're following down the list. It was also a place of execution from 1889, having taken over from Taunton, and civilian executions took place there up to 1926.
Yep. And did you know the prison's also known more locally as Cornhill Prison?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there you go.
Ah, see, there you go.
That's on the other website I looked at.
That's on the other website you looked at. Oh, my goodness me, we're doing well already. Now, looking at the history of this place and the amount of people that were executed there, in particular, I was interested more in the World War II executions, because some of these were quite, I mean, gosh, dearie me. There were 18 military executions that were carried out at Shepton Mallet.
Yeah, there was quite a lot, absolutely. And
now,
no, the web you're looking at has got names and what they actually done as well.
Oh gosh, yeah. Now, 18 men were convicted of murder, 6 of rape, and 3 of both crimes. Rape.
Yeah.
Rape. I mean, God, girls, watch out when you go to Shepton Mallet, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, they'll be 100% safe.
Of course they will, but
Ghostbusters will be with them. It's fine.
Exactly. Ghostbusters will be with you on the night, so don't you worry about that. And the hosts of Trident are always well educated in all forms of spiritual and technical investigative processes.
If it's going to happen, I want it to happen to me.
Okay, I'm sure we can ask the spirit to rape you if you wish.
Not quite.
That brings a whole new level of show into this, Paul. I mean, the website I'm looking at, which I'm going to share because anybody who's interested in history, this is a fascinating place. It's absolutely fascinating. When I was reading through, I was actually a little horrified at the level that was known about this. I mean, I do my research, but this is a different level, isn't it? Because it's all it's recorded.
Absolutely, and I've got an article from the Telegraph that one of the prison officers wrote or gave to the paper when it was closed. And he said, the prison was established as a house of correction in 1610, following an act of James I, the previous year, that required every county to have a jail. Men and women and children were all in prison together, and jailers were unpaid and made an income from taking money directly off the inmates.
Yep.
And
back in today.
Yeah, back in today. Do they really speak like that down in Somerset?
Oh, they do.
Yeah. We'll have to get Mark in on that one.
I was going to say, Mark Manley's the man for that one, to be fair.
Yeah. And, yeah, I mean the article does go on about how the prisoners were mistreated and beaten. And they said that there was even a large treadmill, or treadwheel even, for the prisoners that were doing hard labour. So they could walk on this treadmill and power the grain mill that was situated inside the prison. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was quite amazing. So, right back then, it was like hard labour and you had to just walk for miles.
Oh, yeah, that treadmill thing that you're talking about was a well-known form of corporal punishment for people in prisons back in the day. And if you do look into that and see pictures of that, we're not just talking one treadmill, it's multiple treadmills with multiple prisoners. Bearing in mind they were on lack of food, lack of water, and they're having to do this kind of level of punishment. It's quite barbaric.
Mm. Do the wheels still exist today?
Not as far as I know, no. I've not come across anywhere that's actually got a living example, I suppose you would call it. I could be corrected on that, but I've not come across a living example of that.
Okay.
But when I saw photographs of it, it's like multiple wheels, and it's like you're constantly walking upstairs to turn the treadmill. Mm. And so you can imagine doing that.
I'm just so looking forward to it. And where they used to shoot the prisoners as well for the executions, the American prisoners of war and stuff. They
actually built a brand new wing, didn't they? Which is completely different from the rest of the building because it's red brick.
Yep.
And there's the wall there where they did that.
Yep. And Shepton Mallet also remained as a military prison until 1966, and it was notorious among British servicemen, known as the Glass House in 1959. Mm-hmm. And they had a big riot erupted.
Wow.
That was 1959. Yeah, leading to 13 inmates being tried by courts. What did they say about that? Leading to 13 inmates being tried by the courts. and they were the ones that were shot, I think.
Well, the shooting ones were the American. That was the U.S. Army method, wasn't it? Because Shepton Mallet, where it was American prisoners of war, basically, not prisoners of war, sorry, people done for treason and stuff like that. They didn't believe in hanging. That wasn't their method of execution. Their method of execution was firing squad.
Yeah.
So what happened was they actually had a dispensation made specifically for Shepton that allowed for the Americans to do it how they do it.
Yep.
So it's almost like it was American soil, effectively.
Yeah, I mean that's what they do with the American embassy and all the other embassies we've got in London. All the embassies are the home soil.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I can understand that. They used to have the Craze brothers there. Nice East End link.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Charlie Richardson. He was a gangster apparently in the East End. That's another gangster link that he was in there. Like he was there.
Knew him well.
There's even the infamous past.
Honestly, when you look into the history of this place, it's absolutely fascinating.
There is, and there's so much to it as well. It's almost like, where do we begin?
Well, this is the thing with Shepton. It's absolutely crazy when you look at it. Now, there was one link.
I like that. That's crazy. Get it? Craze.
Yeah, I get that. I get it. I'm going to read this because I actually found this fascinating. Now, the US Army method of hanging was not permitted in England, right? Most of the normal American execution customs were allowed, however. Executions by hanging were normally carried out at 1 a.m. in the morning of the specified day. And shooting executions were carried out around 8 a.m. Now, the British method of hanging was used. There was no standard drop, no hangman's coiled noose, but an exactly calculated drop using a British-style eyelet noose. Did you know that?
I did, because I actually read the website that you're looking at.
I know.
I didn't know it.
Sorry?
I didn't know it until then.
No, that's right. I didn't know that until I read this website either. US Army regulations laid down that a condemned prisoner at execution will be dressed in regulation uniform from which all decorations, insignia or other evidence of membership therein had been removed. So, like, no evidence would appear on clothing during burial. Now, this is where I get interested, right? In all cases, the condemned men had the services of the prison chaplain in the days leading up to their execution, so they could confess their sins. And they were housed in a condemned cell adjacent to the execution chamber for the last 3 or 4 days of their lives. Okay. Now, times of death. Oh, God. Releasing the trapdoors and confirmation of death varies quite considerably. One of the guys only took 3.5 minutes until he was officially pronounced dead. But he was left hanging for 1 hour, as was the norm in England. But it took 22 minutes for another guy. I have got the names. I'm not going to read them just in case, because this is World War II. You don't know who might be surviving, and relatives, obviously.
Yeah.
Could be certified as dead. The average time for 15 of the 16 hangings was 14.8 minutes. And
not long, then.
That's quite a long time when you think about it. And it is presumed that the time taking from the drop until no further heartbeat could be detected would be tallied with the time it took for the heartbeat to stop in civilian hangings at the time. See, that's quite a long time. I thought hangings was quite quick. I have to say, I thought it was drop, crack, done. Do you know what I mean? It's not, is it?
Yeah, it's not. No, they would have left them for a little while just to make sure they're dead.
Yeah, but I mean,
didn't they used to hold on to people's feet as well and pull them down?
Yeah, if they weren't doing it quick enough.
Yeah.
They used to like hang from their feet, which, I mean, God, how traumatic.
I know, they could have tied a bit of rope and had a swing underneath them.
Because normally your neck breaks quite quickly when you hang. Like when you drop,
it depends.
But it all depends.
It depends on where the rope is. I think. I think if the rope is like at the back of the head, as it pulls you, it crushes your windpipe. But if the rope's at the side, it can crack your neck. As well as if the rope's at the front of the head as well, it cracks your neck back. So it depends on where the rope.
God, you'd want a guy who knew what he was doing with that, wouldn't you?
You would, wouldn't you? You'd want it quick as possible. That's why, I mean, in Germany, when they used to hang people, they used piano wire. Because it was so slow and painful.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Because obviously it just slowly cut into the neck. And it was so painful. Yeah, they used to do that. I doubt they'd do that in prison, though.
No, I would have thought they would know a bit more about what they were doing, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course.
Now, you know, a guy called Albert Pierpoint, who actually wrote a book on this, commented upon the delay caused to the execution process, which was caused by the reading of the death warrant on the gallows, which allowed the condemned man to make a final statement, which, you know, we've all heard, you know, have you got any last words? And a long rambling speech goes on, you know, from the accused. Now, neither of these were allowed in British executions, but were standard practice in American ones. So typically, there are up to 20 witnesses and officials in the execution chamber. Now, this really, really got me. After the bodies were buried, after execution, the bodies were buried in Brookwood Cemetery in Surrey. Now, that rung a bell to me because I used to I did look into a little while ago, something called the London Necropolis Railway, which was a railway that was basically built to take bodies from London to Brookwood Cemetery outside London because there was severe overcrowding in London's existing graveyards and cemeteries. Yeah, it's now a non-existent railway, but they all went to Brookwood.
So they would have gone on that trip, wouldn't they?
Well, they wouldn't have gone out of London because this is Somerset, but they would have made a trip to Brookwood Cemetery from Somerset. And I was like, that's interesting to know. That kind of ties in.
Excellent.
Now, the Necropolis Railway is a whole new subject. It's a whole different show, quite frankly. And fascinating. Again, absolutely fascinating history to do with that. But Brookwood Cemetery still exists, and you can visit it today.
Okay.
And a lot of the Napoleonic people that were executed at Shepton, actually from Brookwood, they got buried at Brookwood, but they eventually got moved to France for reburial.
Okay. I do know that some of the people that were hung, especially the ones who was looking at from the American, like the American World War II prisoner of war, you know, that the people came from all over the place. Yeah. And it wasn't just, you know, I mean, even before though, it wasn't just people from Somerset that were executed there. It was people from all over.
Oh, yeah, when it was like a World War II prison. Well, when you think it's gone from Napoleonic Wars, so they've got prisoners of war from the Napoleonic Wars. So if you guys are investigating it, then brush up on your French because you never know. Yeah, when we did Fort Horsted, if you remember, Paul, we actually have French coming through on the spirit box. Yep. Yeah. So brush up on your French because you never know. But there was like Mexican American. There was so you could have Spanish coming through. You could have English. You could have French. You could have German.
I can do German. That's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. What is your name?
What is your name? We have ways of making you talk. That's so bad.
That's it.
Oh dear. But this is, I mean, I have to say, I am actually a little jealous that you're going to Shepton Mallet.
Oh, you can have too.
I can't.
You can. There's plenty of rooms.
Yeah, there's plenty of cells that I can stay in, isn't there?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Only a few.
There's just a few. This is a large location as well, isn't it?
It does say its capacity is 165. And that's 165 prisoners, but you can have another 118 prison staff. So they've got rooms for them as well, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
this is going to be amazing.
It's going to be absolutely fantastic. So what other hauntings have you found out about Shepton?
Well, other than obviously the hangings and stuff, I'm not too privy to most of the activity that goes on. I do know, obviously, you'll probably get spirits of the prison wardens, because that's something I'm going to look for in particular.
Okay.
We done an experiment like that down in Shrewsbury, and we got some really good results from that. We might even do a bit of like role play to see whether or not we can get in some interaction from any of the spirits of the prison guards. That was quite a good one we done on Shepton Mallet, not Shepton Mallet, the other one, Shrewsbury. So we're going to try and recreate that as well to see whether we can get any prison officer interaction. You know, we will be sitting in the cells doing lone vigils, particularly the cell 10 that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to go into that. The segregation part as well. I want to go into the parts where people would be punished, and that it's where places where the emotions would be running high, as it were. So I mean, in the cells, you might get people feeling a bit sad, obviously and upset that they're stuck in the cell. So it'd be interesting to see whether or not any of the public that comes with us connect with any of that. And then obviously you've got the segregation areas as well. There was a lot of shadow people as well in Shrewsbury Prison. So I'm hoping that because this is supposed to be the most haunted prison in the UK, so I'm hoping we're going to get a lot more than we did at Shrewsbury.
That would be absolutely awesome, wouldn't it?
It would. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. As I said, I've already booked my hotel for the day before. So I'm going out the day before. I'm coming home the day after.
Yeah.
It's going to be so amazing. And there is lots of accommodation all around the prison, right up until 15 miles away. So in that circle, you've got loads of places that people could stay if they choose to come along, either by buying a ticket or if they win. There's loads of places they could stay.
That's right. Well, we found an absolutely amazing place when we was down that way before, didn't we? It was only, it was dirt cheap when it was amazing, that hotel.
I can't remember, what was it called? The little barn or something like that?
Literally, I went on to Booking, and me and a friend called Daisy, we were going down there for a completely different investigation night, and we went on to Booking, and we found this absolute gem of a place. It was awesome, and it was so old, and we once they found out what we were there for and what we were doing, they showed us around this place, like some areas that we hadn't or weren't privy to the public. And oh my goodness, and it was so old, wasn't it, this place?
It was.
It was like an old coaching inn.
It was. There was even one room that they'd not refurbished at all, and it was original.
Exactly.
Wasn't it?
And it was Tudor.
Location.
It had all the Tudor panelling and stuff like that. So in that area, wherever you go, whether it's Devon, Cornwall, Somerset, there are some absolute little gems of places that you can stay. And this was dirt cheap. I have to say, for what we got, it was dirt cheap, weren't it, Paul? It
was really good value for money. And as you said, there's loads of other places around. So if you do want to go to this location and this investigation, get down there the day before and come home the day after and have a look around, because not only is there obviously the prison that we're going to go to, but there's other loads of little places dotted around that you can have a look in and look for spirit activity and stuff, because it's rife with it, I tell you.
Oh, completely. And as I say, we found this little gem of a place. I think it cost us £25 a night.
Yeah.
And if you've won the tickets or you've paid for a ticket to go to Shepton Mallet, it's not unaffordable, is it?
No, definitely not. We try and keep the prices low and competitive with the other bigger companies. We still have all the overheads that the companies have. We just don't like making as much money as they do. No. And we want to try and keep it affordable for even small paranormal groups. If they want to come along as well, they can, and it's nice and cheap for them. And that's sort of what we want to do. We want to help out the smaller teams as much as we can. So
if you have a small team and you'd love to do Shepton Mallet but think it's out of your price range, get in touch, because, we can usually, through Trident or other teams, help you out and put you in touch. And generally, if there's a team, there's a discount.
Absolutely. it depends on the size of the team and how many people want to go. If they contact us through the website, and just say, for example, 10 of our team want to go, is there anything we can do on the price? We will give them a small discount and see what we can do to help them out. Absolutely.
And we allow
yeah.
I'm classing myself as Trident here. We allow them to do their own investigation, don't we?
Absolutely, we will do that. For our insurance purposes only, we may stick one of our team members with them, but they can do their own investigation as long as they're willing to rotate around with the other groups. That's fine. Our team member will stay right out of their way. It's only just basically if they knock something over or damage anything, but we've got to be there obviously for our insurance to cover that. But our team member will just keep out of the way, sit in the corner, they'd be quiet.
Yeah. Well, this is it.
Let them get on.
And let them get on with it.
Yep.
What stands Trident Paranormal Events out from the other investigative teams that are out there, events teams?
We like to try and put the scientific spin on everything. We try and give the people that come with us the chance to be paranormal investigators for the night. So we give them the equipment, we tell them what experiments we want to run, and we basically do the experiments. And then if anything happens, we try to look into why it happened. We also don't get the teams to interact with each other until right at the very end of the night, where we have a team debrief. And that's when all the teams can share with their experiences. So, you might get two teams that experience the same things in the experimentations they've done. So it can confirm and corroborate for them, what's been going on. Mm-hmm. Whether it was actually a genuine, unexplained experience. We can't guarantee that there are going to be ghosts and they are going to be playing about for the night. We can't see that. The only thing we can guarantee is that they will get experience of a paranormal investigator, get to use the equipment. They will be told what that equipment does, what it's used for. You get to use the proper content it is actually used. Just stuff like that. Not rather than going around KT like most paranormal teams, and then when something happens, it's like, oh, Uncle Joe died 10 years ago and he follows us around, and we don't do none of that. we look for reasons.
Yeah,
that's different to other teams.
Yeah, and you also work very. You also incorporate spiritual methods of working as well, don't you?
Absolutely. To be scientific constantly would be quite boring, so we do like to do a bit of mixing and matching. We'll try a bit of science first. If that fails to bring anything on, then maybe we're trying to do a bit of spiritual work. And again, if anything happens during that spiritual working, we try to explain it away. We don't jump to the conclusion that it is a ghost. We try and put a logical explanation to it, and yeah, it's quite unique.
A well-rounded viewpoint of the paranormal, rather than just
rather than blinkered. There are teams out there that will start getting knock-ins, for example, and they go, "Oh yeah, that's I don't know, that's the spirit of old Sam. He's constantly knocking about here," and and stuff like that. We don't do none of that. It's just a case of we'll look for the reasons why that's happening. We went to the De Grey Street house. Is it the hostel? And the owner said that a few people have reported scratching in the walls. And we was like, okay. And we actually went up towards the roof area. And the guy said that there was a hole in the roof letting in water and the water damage. But you could also hear pigeons.
Yeah.
Upstairs. So we thought, well, maybe if you're upstairs, you hear scratching, it could be the pigeons. Then when we came downstairs, we noticed there was rats in and out of the kitchen. So we said, okay, well, that can account for the scratching in the wall. So we sort of debunked that as rats and pigeons. So anything that happened that night that was scratching in the walls, that's what it was. So we was looking for other different types of activity.
That's right. It is a more rounded viewpoint of the paranormal rather than just a standard ghost hunt. It is more of a, as I say, even with the spiritual, when I've done workshops for you before now, we don't just talk about, well, if you're getting a yes or no on the pendulum, that's like a spirit guiding that. We talk about the psychology behind that and the idiomotor effect and stuff like that. So it's a learning experience for people too, isn't it? It's very educational.
It is, absolutely, and people love it. They really do. It's something different and unique, and it gives them a glimpse of how to be an investigator for the night and not actually just a ghost hunter. I mean, you do get people out there just for the thrill of it, don't get me wrong, and there's, not really anything wrong with that. But I like to at least, semi-document stuff. So if I can pinpoint exactly what was happening, or, you're getting knocking, and if I can find out the reason for that, then I can debunk that. So if someone in the future says, oh yeah, we went to Shepton Mallet, we went into room 10, for example, and got loads of knocking noises, I can say, oh yeah, we did as well, but this is what that was. So I can debunk it for them and, share my experience.
Yeah,
and then
that's right.
Other people can do it as well. I mean, if they ever return back to Shepton Mallet and get the same activity, they can say, well, last time we was here, it was, I don't know, the rats playing drums in the next room over.
This is where things like, we've talked to Ashley Nibb before about his investigative journal. The journal that we use. We both use that now, don't we?
We do, absolutely. And I've done a couple of private investigations quite recently, and both times I took that book out and used it.
And it's really useful to help you log your experiences that you're having. And if we all start doing that, then we can start building up a real picture of either what's happening or what's causing that.
Indeed. And, if it was all compiled into one central library, so to speak, that would be quite handy for other teams as well.
Yeah.
Because as I said about the member of the public coming out with us, if we debunk something and then they go back a few weeks later and it happens again, they can say, well, this is what it was last time, let's check that this time. So it could either turn out to be the same thing or it could be something different. So, they've got something else to try and debunk, another mystery, another question to answer. So it's a good book, really. I enjoyed using that.
I find it a really useful tool to help log the data that comes in from an investigation, because quite often it's scrawled on a piece of like A4 paper, and by the time you've got home you think, oh God, what was I writing?
Yeah, what was that for?
What was that? What was I supposed to, what was that? What did I mean by that? It actually helps you to structure your evening of what you're capturing at what times, and all that sort of factor, which I do know that Trident Paranormal are great advocates of, aren't you? It's not just an investigation, it's showing you the whole process, including how to log your investigation from all angles.
Absolutely, and that is the job of a paranormal investigator. Although I don't tend to, when I do the events, I don't tend to fill out any formal report about the location, because at the end of the day, it is a public event, and there is so many contaminants. It's so easy to dismiss any of what we record.
True.
So I tend to just do the reports for the private investigations. But I mean, it still gives the public a good idea of what a good paranormal team should be doing if they're ever called to their houses, for example.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about education. Even on a very low level, educational level, it's still putting those seeds in people's minds of what that equipment is recording, and like the environmental, the environment that is recording, like what are EMF and what are... what is a REM pod doing? And, we see it time and time again on TV, and then people go, oh, it's a ghost. Yeah. No, it's recording electromagnetic fields in the environment. It's not necessarily a ghost. We need to look at other factors. And it's that like, even on a base level, it's quite educational, isn't it?
Yeah. We done an investigation, what night was it? A couple of nights ago, at someone's house, and they obviously watched this Most Haunted and other shows out there, and they were like, well, can we use the ghost box? And we're like, well, yeah, okay, we'll use the ghost box. But they didn't really understand what that ghost box was for and what it was doing. So we was able to sit there and explain it to them, and then we used the equipment. So we were teaching them a little bit more about what they actually see on the TV. We also used... K2 meter, and we actually explained that that's to pick up electric magnetic fields, and the theory is that the spirit energy comes close and it affects the lights, but it still could quite easily be the electrics. It's something, it's a device that electricians use. It's not really made for ghost hunting as such, but we can explain that to them, and that's it is education.
As well as giving them the experience of using the equipment in the field.
Yeah, and then obviously, because it was a private investigation, we was using the equipment, and everything we was doing was documented, because obviously it was a private, and I can account for everybody there. But, yeah, I mean, there was a little boy there that came in halfway through the investigation, because he came home, and he just constantly asked questions about everything he'd see on the TV.
Oh, bless him.
It was so good. And then he'd come out with questions like, how do ghosts see us? And I'm like, well, I don't know, I've never really thought about that.
Yeah, how do they see us?
Yeah, I mean, I said, like, do you remember the film The Others? Where...
Yeah, Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, and she kept closing the curtains because her little son was allergic to the light.
Yeah.
And then every so often the curtains would open. And I likened it to that, just to put a logical explanation to what I'm answering. Do you know what I mean?
Try to get it understandable for the person that you're talking to without going too in depth.
Exactly. As for residual energy and stone tape theory, the spirit would see the house and everything as it was when they were alive.
Yeah.
But how does a spirit that is intelligent see the house and you? Does he still see it the same way as it was when he was there? or not. I'd see it's just questions as if 13-year-old boy come out with, and I was like, well, I've never really asked.
So it opens your mind up when you get new people on like that. That's why sometimes if you're a really experienced investigation team, sometimes having a greenhorn on the team opens up minds.
It does, absolutely. I mean, I've never really thought about how spirits see us, so maybe next time we're in communication with one, I'm going to ask,
Well, you never know. It might add a whole new concept to what we do. You ask a different questions rather than, is anybody there? Tap once for yes and two for no,
It's just a prime example that we're always learning.
Tell me your name.
We're never going to know the whole complete truth until we actually pass over ourselves.
True.
And we're always going to be learning. Right,
always.
So no one can ever be an expert at this because there's always something out there that we've not ever actually thought of asking.
That's right, and that's the beauty of Trident. And I know this because I've worked with Trident, and I'm not putting down on any other team. I'm sure they do the same. But it's having that dialogue between yourself and the guests and actually making them part of that process too. It's rather than, right, in this place we're going to do this experiment. It's more about going, so guys, what is it you want to do tonight? It's, this is your investigation. This is your night. What do you want to do? We've got all the equipment. We've got all the spiritual side of things as well covered.
Well, that's it. I mean, for the first 5 minutes when you're off in your groups or whatever, that's what you're doing. You're saying, right, this is the equipment we've got. This is what this does. This is what that one does. This is what this does. What do you want to use? Because at the end of the day, it's you that paid to come out on this. So, you use the equipment. You use our knowledge. We can guide you. That's what we're here for. And people love what we do. And they keep coming back. It's
they
unique.
do. They certainly do. The last investigation I did with Triton, because, Paul calls me out all the time because I'm such a lightweight in regards to temperature. I like it to be a little warmer. I'm not one for the freezing cold temperatures. I will admit that live on air. When it's a little warmer, I'll start going out on investigations. And the last investigation I did, every single person was like going, okay, when are you next on? When are you next around? We're doing that. If you're there, we're there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And every single time I've been out with Trident, it's been exactly the same thing from the guests, which has been awesome.
That's it. And everyone that comes to our events, we take down their email address. So when I get home, I send them a survey, an online survey.
Mm-hmm.
So I can get all the feedback from the event while it's fresh in their minds. And, if there's any good comments, then I'll pass it on to the team. If there is any negative things going on, then, we can sort that out as well. So no event is ever the same. It's, constantly being improved every event. If we can improve it, obviously.
Well, the ones I'm on, you can't, because you've never had any negative feedback.
Do you know what? Last year, we didn't get one bit of negative feedback whatsoever.
No,
it was all positive, and they all said how wonderful it was. So I think, we do a pretty good job.
Yeah.
But, there's always room for improvement, and, we do try new ideas and new tactics every now and again and see how that's received. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, then, we'll scrap it. But at the end of the day, there isn't one event that's the same. We can keep going back to the same location over and over again, but each event is different.
Oh, completely. No, I agree with that. And Shepton Mallet is shaping up to be an investigation of a lifetime, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And it could even be that after this 6 months contract's up, they're not having it anymore.
It could be.
So it's definitely one to get on when you get the opportunity. Because
Most
it might
definitely.
be the last. Yeah.
I agree.
It might be the last chance, but yeah, hopefully it's not. And they keep it going, but we can't say that, unfortunately.
No, we can't. but it's not looking like it's going to be a long investigation time for teams to get into there.
No, I think they do like 6 months contracts at a time. So we're only on the 4th month now, so you've got another 2 months before they decide whether or not they're going to extend the contract another 6 months, or say enough's enough, we're turning it into something else.
True. So let's officially launch this competition. Hold on, let me just do the little...
Yeah, go for it.
I can't believe we're doing a fanfare.
Oh dear.
The competition is open on the Parasearch Radio group page. I can't believe we've just done a
you
fanfare.
bounced that one up, didn't you?
No, I didn't. He played, trust me.
Oh, okay.
Just because you can't hear it. Now, it is for the 6th of April to Parasearch Radio listeners. To enter, you must be a member of the Parasearch Radio group page. You must comment on the post to enter the draw. If you love us, you will share. So please feel free to share it around and tell your friends about this. The winner of the 2 tickets will be drawn on the 3rd of April at 9 p.m. on the Paranormal Concept Show. Now, the event is the whole and sole responsibility of Trident Paranormal and non-exchangeable. Parasearch Radio is not responsible for any costs or cancellations. The winner must be available to attend on the event on the 6th of April and is responsible for their own transport to and from the event. It is over 18s only, and obviously, guys, no alcohol or drugs are allowed on the event. Now, if you wish to enter, go over to the Parasearch Radio group page on Facebook, enter the competition, put your name down. If you need accommodation, trust me, you can find cheap accommodation locally. I've done it, as in I've found cheap. We've found cheap accommodation locally, so don't be put off the fact that it's in Somerset. Have a look at it. If please enter it, because this is an investigation of a lifetime. And on that note, what else have we got coming up this week, Paul?
I'd say if they do want to buy a ticket to secure their place, they can go to www.tridentparanormal.com and just click on the link there and buy tickets straight away.
What else has Trident got coming up this year, Paul?
Oh, now you're asking. We have, obviously, Shepton Mallet. We have also got Kelvin and Hatch Nuclear Bunker. We have also another location I'm really looking forward to in October. So we've still got a long way to go yet. It's in Wales. It's Castle Koch in Cardiff. And it's this little castle right in the middle of a forest. It's just like a mini Dracula castle.
Wow.
Amazing. I'm definitely looking forward to this one. That's on the 13th of October. We have also got Warwick Castle in August. And we're doing a couple of Rye Gatehouse events as well. So they're the ones that are actually confirmed at the moment. Oh, we've got True Crimes Museum as well in July.
I've done the True Crimes, and that is an absolutely awesome location. If you've not been, check out the website. I've just shared it into the chat room. Don't forget, the chat room is still available after the show's gone to podcast. So if you missed the show and you're listening on podcast and you want to find the links, they're all in the chat room. You can still access it. You can't comment, and obviously we won't hear it or see it. But you can still find the links that I've shared into the chat room for you. Trident Paranormal, I would certainly recommend as an events company. There are many others, but I'm part of it, so of course it's awesome.
You sign autographs as well.
I sign autographs, and
we also, on the website, we also do have a newsletter, so that people can sign up for the newsletter and get up-to-date information on what's coming up and competitions and stuff that we run through the company. We also are going to have some ghost walks coming up just as soon as someone sorts it out.
I don't know who you're talking about.
No, I can't imagine.
Just saying, just waiting for the weather to get a little bit better. We've got another beast from the east coming in Easter. As soon as that's decided to have its fussy out, then I will be sorting another ghost walk out very, very soon. The last one I did was at Hockley Woods late last year. And I have to say, what a fantastic night that turned out to be. Yeah, I loved that night. That was brilliant. And I'm planning on doing more next year. No, not next year. This year. Yeah, it will be this year, Paul. Don't worry. God, he's cracking his whip now, guys. I will be doing more this year. I know, slapping my legs and everything. Get on with it. I'm like, it's snowing. So I don't care. Mr. Snow Day over there. So don't forget, guys, go over, check out the website for Trident Paranormal. Enter the competition. It is live and kicking on the Parasearch Radio group page. Now, Paul.
Yes.
What else have we got coming up this week?
Oh, this week, I don't know, but next week's show, we're talking...
I tried to turn the tables on him. Did you see that, guys? He was having none of it.
Turn them back.
What are we talking about next Tuesday?
Next Tuesday is going to be haunted artwork.
Yes, that's right. We're talking haunted artwork next week, which is, I believe that was the snow night that you took, that we didn't do that show.
Right. Yeah, that was going to be the snow night. Yeah, we're going to be talking about haunted artwork, as in, can artwork produce portals to the other side?
Portals,
and stuff,
eh?
as opposed to actually being haunted, like the Anguished Man painting.
Yeah.
It's not that way. I mean, yeah, we could touch on that subject, but I want to know about portals in paintings, because I've got a really good, interesting story about one of those.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. So that's next Tuesday at 9 p.m. The rest of the week on Parasearch Radio, tomorrow night we kick off at 8 p.m. with the Supernatural Chat Show. We've got Mr. Lee Roberts in the studio with Mr. Sean Cadman on Haunted Histories. Oh my goodness me. She's got Porter from Ghost Asylum on with her. Penny. Penny's got Porter. Mr. Porter.
You can really go off some people there, can't you?
Honestly, she is like such a... I want to say media whore, but that's really not polite.
No, we love that.
He was at Ghost Asylum and Haunted Towns, Porter. So definitely check in tomorrow night for Haunted History. She's talking all things Salem on that one. Now, on Thursday night on the Spectral Zone, Kaz Rooney is in the studio talking dream visitations. Friday night we've got the Dark Mirror Show and we're talking crisis apparitions. And on Sunday evening we've got, the author Ruth Roper Wild in the studio with myself and Claire, who writes all about haunted investigations and not so much investigations, hauntings, haunted stories. So she is going to be fascinating to talk to. Her latest book is awesome. Can I just give a little personal shout out?
Go on in.
On Saturday night, I'm being interviewed on PSH Radio with Mr. Carl Hutchinson. I'm kicking off at 9 p.m. So check out PSH Radio because I'm being interviewed on that.
Oh, no, we'll do a pop-up show then.
No, you can't. Because
Okay.
I'm being interviewed. You should be listening to me talk about me and all things wonderful and how wonderful I am and how good I am and all the things that I do. Oh, God, my ego is so big.
It'd be fun anyway. And also on Friday we have the Great Paranormal Debate.
Oh, God, yeah. We have to actually... No, I didn't forget. I wasn't sure if you were doing it or not. Are you doing the Great Paranormal Debate on Friday?
Yes, we're doing the Great Paranormal Debate.
8 o'clock Friday. We kick off at 8 o'clock on Friday with a Great Paranormal Debate. Sorry, with the gorgeous Kerry Ann. And Paul, obviously.
Yeah. Awesome show. Not to be missed.
Anyway, on that note, after I've taken over your show and interviewed you, I am going to with you. Go on, say good night. Close your show, Paul.
Good night, everybody. It's good night from me.
And it's good night from me. I've got to have this fanfare one more time. Oh, dear. Good night.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.